It is episode 194 of the Coin Show podcast. Due to personal reasons, Matt is unable to join us, but we are joined by our auxiliary host, Lianna Spurrier.
Hello.
Thanks for joining.
And if you are joining us live from the NNP Symposium, welcome back. This hour, we're going to be doing an episode of the Coin Show podcast. If you hadn't caught on to that yet, it is, I believe, the #1 coin podcast that's out there.
I believe so.
Excellent.
So. Oh, it's nearly award winning. So okay. So let's see. On episode 194 of the Coin Show podcast, we will take questions from the live audience at the end of our live show here at the Newman Numismatic Portal. Lianna may have decided to play some of our fun games with us. We'll talk digital media and how it's shaping the numismatic industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But first, as always, the news. Oh, let's see. I don't really have a news. We'll just do that today.
Excellent. High quality sound effects.
Yes. So the news, for those of you who love this, is brought to you by Zippers. Better than buttons since 1893, Zippers.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes. Excellent. So Lianna,
yes.
Let's see. The American Numismatic Association's annual higher education scholarship has been renamed the Jerome Walton Memorial College Scholarship to honor his service and other contributions to the ANA.
Yes. And so this was previously the Farron Zerby Scholarship, correct?
I believe so. So Walton served as the group's assistant treasurer from 1988 until his recent passing in August of this year. The scholarship will be partially funded by a grant set up by Walton himself. So I think that's kind of cool. The scholarship is awarded annually to 2 students based on academic performance, numismatic accomplishments, and financial need. The scholarship provides $1,000 to each student that can be used towards books, tuitions, or supplies. Winners may receive the scholarship for up to 4 years. So applications for the 2022 awards will become available in January. You must be a high school senior and an ANA member to apply.
Wish I'd known about that when I was a high school senior.
You were an ANA member?
At that point, I don't think I was. I had stopped collecting in high school because I had too much homework and no time to have a life.
I was going to say, I don't think I was that smart either.
And this was not the Farron Zerby. That was an award I was thinking of. This is a different thing, to clarify my error earlier.
Hey, look, we talk about news off the cuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
The American Eagle 2021 1-ounce gold uncirculated coin went on sale October 7th. So, yeah. And then there were none.
That tracks.
Just that fast. Another mint sellout product. Okay, so here I've already heard Matt's take on it. What's your take on the recent tactics of the mint and what they're doing with this with their products?
It's not a sustainable way to sell things. I mean, the majority of people that they're getting at this point have got to be a large majority of flippers, because there's so many dealers that are offering, I'll pay X amount above the sell price if you can get me one. And so a lot of the people that are going in and causing these problems are just trying to flip them immediately. So they're not getting into collector hands at anywhere near the original cost, which is not the point of selling them. We're trying to get them into collector hands from the get-go. So something in this process needs to change to make this more functional. There are a couple things that I've tried to get, and every time it just panics and shuts me out, like almost everyone has experienced.
I would definitely agree that if they're trying to put these in collector hands, they're definitely going about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. Here's the thing, is that the mint said that they were going to have an enforcement of a policy that says if they see dealers buying up mint sold out products from individual collectors, that they would then shut those dealers out of buying products from the mint. And I thought that was supposed to deter that, but I have seen the results and it clearly is not. I don't know if the mint's even going to bother trying to enforce it. So, I mean, we're all going to kind of see what happens with that. But, I have to say that there are several issues that have come out this year, and we'll get to another one in a minute. You know, well, I mean, look, this coin had a mintage limit of 9,100 coins. Why?
Yeah.
You know, that's my question. Why? It doesn't make any sense at all. So, you know, I don't know where they're coming from on some of this stuff.
Yeah, they'd only be earning more money if they made more of them to sell.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, this is the coin this is the coin show. This is the coin show train wreck version. It's like I am trying so hard to do certain things, and I'm having a really hard time with it today. I have lost my script. It's like I can't get out of this. There we go. Thank you. Jeez.
All righty.
Yeah, computer knowledge to the rescue. Okay. So yeah, I mean, they only made 9,000 of these. So, you know, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose. If you're only going to put out 9,000 of these coins, you know you're going to sell out. You know, I don't care if you put a household limit of 1 on it. It just doesn't matter. The let's see, you've got the Morgan dollars and the Peace dollars that just came out. Okay, and they had relatively low mintages, you know, 85 bucks a piece for 150,000 and 200,000 of them. And they sold out within 10 minutes. Okay, I get it. Those things, those you made quite a few of, but 9,100?
I think there is something to be said for limiting mintages in the interest of making them more collectible down the line. But that only works for some products. If you do that for all of them, it's going to just kind of defeat the purpose of itself and discourage people from collecting them altogether. And the discouragement, I think, is really what this is delivering better than anything else. Yes. You know, why didn't you just make 2021 of them? Yep. There you go.
I think it'd be a more relevant number.
Yeah.
The United States is probably trying to become Canada, which has released its first Piedfort coin. First Piedfort gold coin. So 1 ounce Maple Leaf Celebration coin has a mintage of only 500 coins and is seemingly still available on the RCM website.
Wow.
So they made 500 of these. They're still available. The Mint made 9,100 and sold it out. Okay. But this has the low price of $4,199.95 Canadian. That's about 3,400 bucks US at the time of this podcast.
Very affordable.
But is that any better or worse? I mean, is the Canadian Mint any worse for having done this? Are they any better for having done this? Because they do this all the time. They put out with mintages, you know, these tiny mintages, 500, 100, 2,000, and because they put out so many of them, you know, it seems like they get to stay up on the website for a bit. And
I will say,
I don't want to see the US Mint go in that direction.
There have been a few issues from Canada. There's one I'm thinking of in particular that has been extremely innovative and unique. And it had one of those really low mintages, but it was such a cool coin that even I was like, oh, I want one of those, even though I don't collect anything near modern Canadian coinage.
Oh, you and Matt both.
Yeah, so it was a very random purchase, but I was like, it's too cool, I have to have it. So I think there's a little bit to be said for the innovation that they're bringing, but with the number of coins that they're minting, those innovations are not reaching a very big audience and they're not really having much of an impact. I'm not sure what they're doing.
Well, here's the way I look at that. And I agree with you that they are doing innovation, but maybe they're using this as their practice. Maybe they're doing this to develop new techniques, to do other things that they can then use in new products. So, I mean, I think they're successfully doing that kind of stuff. They're creating products that are not sitting in warehouses. They're being sold out or very close to it. And if they're not, there aren't that many of them left over. And some of the design and some of the innovations that they have done have been pretty cool. Now, some of them, you know, a little lame, right? You know, the ones with the jewel and crust, you know, it has a topaz in it or whatever. Okay. But here's the thing about being on the edge. When you're on the edge, some of it's going to be good and some of it's going to fall off. And
I think the question is how many of them people will still care about in 25, 50 years.
Yes. Yeah. Is there going to be a secondary market for these products?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the United States Mint will release their holiday ornaments October 21st. So the Mighty Minters ornament themed Winter is Sweet. It's not. I hate winter. That's what it should be themed. I hate winter. Features the Mint's coin collecting ambassadors, Layla the Peahen and Eli the Fox.
Yes, it does.
Cross candy canes and America the Beautiful quarter centered. Now, while the U.S. Mint ornament features deer silhouettes and holly, as well as an America the Beautiful quarter centered. So that one's down just a little bit more in the story. So here's your Christmas. Here's your early Christmas present, right? Because it's not even Halloween yet.
That's true.
Do you see what I see? There's your Christmas reference. I think this was a missed opportunity to use the renewed 2021 obverse from the Crossing the Delaware quarter.
Yeah, that's very
It's
true.
It's a 1 year issue.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity.
Yes. Now, granted, these ornaments will all have Tuskegee Airmen coins, but you wouldn't know it to look at them,
right?
Because the Tuskegee Airmen side, which has the year on it, even more ironically, is covered by a U.S. Mint logo.
Oh, lovely. I just assumed it was on the back, but no, we're just going to cover it.
No.
Great.
That's,
okay.
Yes, that's the U.S. Mint logo.
It's better.
It's like,
that's very odd.
Yes. I mean, look, you had an opportunity. You had to completely, redesign the renewed 2021 obverse. It looks beautiful. It reminds old people like me, hey, I remember when we had those, right? That was 20 years ago. And yet, they decided to continue with the theme. I think this quarter it's the reverse because it doesn't have the date. So this quarter reverse is likely going to be the same one they're using next year for the women. We have to look at the designs. They're coming up later in the news. We'll see if the year is on them or not.
Good deal.
So, that's what I'm saying is I think that might have been for a continuity thing, but yeah.
At this, like with what they've been doing with the quarters, where we had the very last America the Beautiful and then this Washington crossing the Delaware in the middle with no series affiliation, and then we're jumping right into women. There is no continuity anymore with the quarter series. I think we've diverged from really consistent series within them. And so I'm not sure continuity should have been their goal. Just embrace the mess that's been made of them at this point.
I think I may have done that better than most. I think I have embraced the mess that they've made because there even is still some cool stuff within the America the Beautiful quarters. Within that series, you've got your W mints 19 and 20. You've got S mints that are in circulation strike from 12 to 21. Or no, 12 to 20. I don't know if they made Tuskegee. Yeah, they did. S mints in circulation strike. So, those are interesting and they're different. They're not ready. They're not in circulation, kind of. And so they might bring a little bit of added interest to the series. But yeah, I think you're right. But here, one of the things that I like about the series that they run is the fact that it brings new, fresh designs, more engravers, more all that stuff.
Yeah, that is a plus of it.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Coin shortage, schmoin shortage. The U.S. Mint is making plenty of coins, folks. We're not circulating them. So, look, the U.S. Mint, if you look back over the past, scroll it down just a little bit further, and
there
you see this chart. And it's got this chart of all the years that they've made these, right? And it's just absolutely crazy. Just absolutely crazy that you have 2 months within the last year. This is during the pandemic where they've made less than 1 million or than 1 billion coins within the month. I mean, they're making over 1 billion coins a month. and there's a coin shortage. Well, yeah, it's because people aren't circulating coins. Now here,
Right.
look, originally that went back to COVID, and I get that, everybody was afraid of COVID, but the fact of the matter is that we figured out, okay, that COVID doesn't generally pass through touch. It's aerosolized stuff. It's all in the air. So coins are okay. You can start spending them again. Because what's going to happen is, if people actually do kind of unleash the beast and put a bunch of coins back into circulation, we will see a year with really low mintages.
Yeah.
Just won't be a need for it.
Yeah.
The U.S.
Which I hope happens. That would be great to have an actual, like, naturally created modern rarity, so to speak, at this point.
We already had one and nobody cared.
That's true.
2009. 2009 nickels and dimes, right? Call a dealer and see if they've got any.
Yep. I remember searching for those in change.
Yes.
I had a Jefferson nickel Dansko that I was trying to fill very actively at that time and was extremely frustrated that I could not find any nickels.
The P, huh? Or you couldn't find the P or the D?
I had trouble with both of them. I think I found the P much earlier than the D. I probably had to purchase the D because I am more on the eastern side of the country.
Okay.
But I remember those.
Puerto Rico, they were waiting there. Yeah, so here's the great part is that the U.S. Mint typically manufactures about 30% of the coinage that we need for circulation. So the fact that they're minting 1.1 billion a month says that's way more than 30% of what we should need. So there's going to be a reckoning that's coming somewhere.
Yep. Eventually.
Yeah. Now, something else that doesn't circulate, American innovation dollars. The newest and latest is from the great state of North Carolina. There you go. And the Mint has followed this up. The beautiful North Carolina American Innovation Quarter, the first public university.
All right.
Yeah. Yawn. Sorry.
Cool.
And the Mint has followed this up with, next slide, the 2021 Innovation Dollar Proof Set. And the only thing that I have in my story about this is, why do they make these coins?
I do not have that answer. That is something I have wondered, and it felt like it.
I don't know. Look, they've got warehouses full of presidential dollars and Sacagawea dollars. So they've said that they're not going to mint these to any, large quantity. They're just going to mint them, and they're going to sell them. It sounds like kind of a profit, motivated move that they're going to sell them just to collectors and stuff like that. Okay, so let's take them at their word for it, right? So why do they gouge $24 for a 4-coin proof set? Why are they asking, what is it, $35 for a roll? That you can only get these coins in a roll from, so you're pricing these coins out of the collector's hands that you're trying to get to.
I suppose the goal could be to, if they're wanting to limit the mintages to begin with and have them be a low mintage series, then pricing them higher, fewer are likely to sell, but they're still making a good profit margin on those that do. Possibly.
I think that anytime you try to figure out, particularly with our government, what the motivations are, you have to think oops first. I mean, that's just generally the thought. So my comment on it is that my thought originally was that they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to pass another quarter program. And so they looked at it and they said, okay, well, what else can we do? Well, we can do the dollars. And so they started a dollar program. And then they kind of looked at it and said, this just doesn't produce the kind of revenue that the quarter program does, because, they're making seniorage on every single one of these that they produce. And the more of them you produce, the more seniorage, right? So you're going to make more than 4 times the quarters that you make of these dollars. And so therefore you're going to get a huge, especially at 1.1 billion a month, you're going to make, tons and tons of money on just the seniorage from these alone. So I think that they did that. I think that maybe this will steer them away from doing a $50, which They've released $50 for circulation this year, saying, hey, maybe people will circulate them.
Oh, that's
They
news to
don't-
me.
They don't fit in any vending machines that I know of. Let's see, they don't want to take them at McDonald's or the convenience store. Yeah. Oh, they're gonna work out great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of figure it that way, that they kind of figured that they didn't know if they were going to get another quarter program through, and so they started this one. And they look at it from a worst case scenario. Well, what's the worst that can happen? We end up with both.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that said, a new quarter program is right around the corner, in case you were unaware.
Shocking.
Yeah, the American Women's Quarters program begins next year and will produce 5 new quarter dollars each year, celebrating the contributions of trailblazing American women. Now, I wonder if they're going to have the single year with 1 quarter again in this set, because it looks like five a year again. That's what drove us into the whole, Tuskegee Airmen thing. So one thing I've always given them credit for is that in all of these circulating commemorative programs comes the promise of new designs, new voices in the art world being heard from. And this particular program, in my opinion, has begun on such a right step that it has to have been an accident.
Excellent.
So the diversity of this first year's honorees features 5 women. There is 1 white, 1 African American, 1 Asian American, 1 of Mexican descent, and 1 of Native American origin.
Very diverse group.
Not every ethnicity has been represented yet, but with this start, I really think this series could teach young collectors about a fantastic group of individuals whose stories have not been told yet in our schools, but deserve to, as they helped create, the fabric that is America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it does say here that it's just going through 2025, so it looks like they're just doing 25 quarters, not specifically by state.
Okay, so here's a little bit of inside information on that. They're going to pause in 2026 because of the semi-quincentennial.
Mm-hmm.
Issue quarters celebrating that, and then they're going back to the program in 2027.
Okay. Okay, I did not know they were returning to it afterwards.
That's at least what I've read preliminarily. I'm probably the only person that pays attention to this stuff, so who knows. But yeah, I mean, I really, really love the fact that they have gone, diverse on this, and they're telling stories of people that deserve it.
I think the big question will be if the public pays attention to them.
Like, look, I don't think that they have any choice but to, right? You've got so much circulating coinage over the last 30 years now with, the statehood quarters, the national parks, and now you're going to have women. It's, working in a shop, you have the occasional person that walks in the door, and somebody came in the other day and said, well, what kind of coins have Mount Rushmore on them? Mm-hmm. And I just start rattling off a list. Well, because there's, you got your America the Beautiful quarter, you got a Mount Rushmore commemorative, you've got all kinds of different things that have Mount Rushmore on them. Even the North Dakota quarter mm-hmm. has Mount Rushmore on it. So I have found out about places that I didn't know about. And in this particular series, I expect to learn about people that I don't know. Now, I have to say there's one name that really sticks out at me, and let's see if you can guess which one it is. Let's see if it sticks out at you.
Oh, I think I saw it. Was it Wilma Mankiller?
Yeah, I mean,
I like it.
Look, it's her name, but
mm-hmm.
Okay. She was a principal chief of the Sioux?
Cherokee.
Cherokee, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a really cool design, too.
Mm-hmm. Most of the people I talk to outside of the coin industry, just people who don't collect, tend to be unaware that we even have the America the Beautiful quarter series. They were aware of the statehood quarters. And then I say, oh, the series that came after that. And they're like, the what now? So I think there's a question that could be. I think there's a question of how well these will be promoted and advertised to the non-collecting public to see how wide of a reach they have to those people as well as people within the industry who are paying attention to it.
Sure. Mike Mezek may become your biggest women's rights advocate now. These are rare. We'll see what happens. But I honestly, and in comment to what we were talking about earlier, the date has been moved to the Washington side. So the Washington side will continue to be the obverse.
Yes.
And that's nice because it gives them a little bit more room in these designs.
And they'll be using the design by Laura Garden Fraser that was almost chosen back in the 30s.
Which probably may have been chosen. I mean, it's so similar to the Flanagan design.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, this was discussed in a session earlier today as well.
I'm sure. Let's see. Okay, so Mexico celebrated its bicentenary by issuing silver coins on September 28th. So this was 200 years after Mexico declared her independence from Spain on September 28th, 1821. The Mexican government issued sterling silver 10 peso coins, weighing 33.6 grams, which gives them pretty much exactly 1 ounce of the actual silver weight. A 20 pesos bimetallic coin will also be minted, but the mintnewsblog.com article doesn't really go into detail as to which metals will be used on the 20 peso coin.
Mm-hmm.
So
the design is not exciting to me.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because we get a lot of people that ask for a coin called a centenario.
Mm-hmm.
And a centenario was minted to celebrate 100 years of Mexican independence in 1921. And it's just funny that they made that out of gold. They made this out of silver. People ask for that coin all the time. I doubt we're going to get anybody looking for these.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they're not going to sell. They're not going to circulate. It's a 10 peso coin, and it's got $30 or it's got an ounce of silver in it. But we'll see what happens. The other one I think is made to circulate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like a lot of their designs from like the earlier 20th century from their circulating coinage, but this is not one of them.
Yeah, no, this kind of reminds me of there's a silver design that they have with I want to say a bell on it, but it's just very plain and very just kind of.
Yeah.
That's the technical term.
Ugh. Yep, very technical.
And finally in the news, the Royal Dutch Mint has issued mule alert. We have breaking news. It appears that the Royal Dutch Mint has made a production error by reusing the reverse die of the 2020 ducat. So as a result, the gold bar on the reverse faces south instead of the placard on the west. Now, that's kind of a big deal, because the coin was supposed to point to west to mark the anniversary of the granting of a trade charter, a monopoly, to the Dutch West India Company by the 7 United Netherlands.
Very interesting.
Yeah, the double ducat or double ducat has the correct reverse, so there won't be any problems with that. Now, here's the thing that I think makes this story really, really interesting. Of the mules, they sold 895 of the coins. They are going to offer the people that bought the coin the opportunity to return the coin and get a corrected version, or they can keep the coin and they have the right to buy a corrected version. So you not only have one coin that's kind of rare because this is the last in a series, but you have one error coin that goes along with it that's super rare and will be desirable.
Yeah. I feel like it would be foolish to turn it in exchange for the correct one.
And yet, it reminds me most of the 95W Eagle sets. Now, I don't know if you were old enough to remember this, but when they issued the sets in 95, it came as a gift. The 95W gold or Silver Eagle proof came as a gift for buying the 10th anniversary gold set.
Mhm.
So you bought 4 coins. You bought a 1 ounce, a half ounce, a quarter ounce, and a 10th ounce for $999. And they would give you this proof Silver Eagle to go with it,
Mhm.
which ends up being the winner of the whole thing.
Yep.
And there are people that said, you know what? Nah, it's okay. Oh,
I bet they live to regret that choice.
yeah. So there's always something.
Whew.
So that was the news. And the news this week was brought to us by zippers. Better than buttons since 1893 zippers.
Excellent.
So Lianna, as our guest host, filling in for Matt this week, it's
Yep.
nice because I get surprised by reactions now. I kind of have Matt's down pat. After 10 years, we're like an old married couple. You know, it's like I know he's going to poo-poo all the new stuff. He's going to do, but yeah, we'll have to get some new opinion from you. I wanted to talk a little bit about the state of the coin hobby and about digital numismatics, because we have an audience here that may or may not participate in a lot of digital stuff, and for those that don't, I think this is a really good opportunity for us to give them an idea of what there is out there, how they can access it, how they can use it. So I mean, most basically, I want to start with what we do, which is a podcast. And one of the most common questions that I get about a podcast is, well, okay, when is your show on? And it's one of those normal media questions. Our show gets posted to the internet. So what that means is that once it's posted, you can go back and you can download it and you can listen to it. You can get it on an app, or you can get it all sorts of different places, but you go and get it at your convenience. So some of you may be familiar with podcasts, but they're up on a website. Ours is at coinshowradio.com. You go to our website and it says listen to the show. You click on that, and then it has a list of every single one that we've done in the 10 years that we've done it. And you can go back and you can listen. You can get our opinions on different subjects, and you can see the different things that we've done over the years. So there are other podcasts out there. There's the Coin Week podcast. There is, I think, the Coin World podcast. They have a little bit different kind of format from what look. As you gather from my new sponsor, we do something a little different here. We do something a little bit more goofy and a little bit more off the cuff. And look, we're going to enjoy ourselves and just have some entertainment and a little bit of fun. We're going to talk opinion a lot versus hard news. And we're just going to kind of, tell you what's going on, try and keep you abreast of what's going on. But at the same time, it's not going to be the 1909 VDB was, that's just not what we do.
Yeah, I host another podcast as well. It's called NBS Bibliotalk, sponsored by the NBS. And we talk about coin books. So that's another one that's out there. And for any of those, if you have a smartphone, it likely came with a podcasting app pre-installed. So on Apple, it's like a little pinkish purple logo and it says podcasts. On Android, I think it's called Google Podcasts. And so you can go on that. You can just search coins and you should be able to find some. I know that's how the Coin Show pops up because that's how I found them back in college. And so it should very easy to access them that way. The NBS one that I host is also available on the NBS's website. And we'll be doing an episode of it to close out tomorrow at the symposium.
Cool.
But there are plenty of other ones out there as well, of course. The Coin Show is one of my favorites.
Thank you. And now you're part of Coin Show history, although you really kind of were already anyway. And so there's podcasts. They're just the tip of the iceberg. One of the biggest emerging technologies within the audio or within the digital space is YouTube. And some people kind of like YouTube. Some people kind of stay away from YouTube. I look at YouTube as like a bank of old video. And that's really all it is that you can go there, you can find, it's really funny. I found myself in a situation the other day where I had a firearm, and I'm not a firearms guy, right? But I had to figure out how to unload it. Well, what did I do? I pulled up YouTube. I'm like, here,
Mhm.
okay, how do I get the, and it's like, here, they showed me, it's like you push on this button right here, boom, and bam, out comes the bag. I'm like, okay, I'm a happy guy.
Mhm.
I've seen how to repair my car, how to do all kinds of things. But so you can find videos on virtually anything, and you can find all sorts of coin content. There's a guy who does coin roll searching. There are several people out there who just do content like I do, like we do, educational, informational stuff. Most of them do a really good job of doing their homework and making sure it's right. One thing I'll tell you is not everybody does. So take, what you see with a grain of salt, and don't blindly believe anything, except maybe us. And there is a scourge of people out there doing videos on silver stacking, gold stacking, and other precious metal hunting, which seem to be the clickbait of YouTube. They are like, it is amazing. I've done this podcast for 10 years. We listed on YouTube. We have over 1,000 followers on YouTube. We put up a podcast every other week, and we do some other stuff. We do Facebook. We do all these other social media. I get people that come into the shop that I work in, and they're, oh, I've heard your podcast. It's like, but it's occasional. It's once in a great while, right? We were featured on one of these silver stacking YouTube videos. And I swear to you, in the 4 weeks since it's had like 15 people go, hey, you guys were on that silver stacking. So there's good, there's bad, and there is ugly as far as just bad information out there. But there is a wealth of content out there for you, virtually no matter what your interest is. And over the course of the pandemic and us kind of being shut off from the world, it was really a really good opportunity for us to kind of start to look into that and start to enjoy it. We started putting out more content on stuff like that, and there are a lot of content creators out there that I think you'll find interesting. You'll find them very much worth the time.
Yeah, and there is a very wide range of quality of video on there as well, not just in terms of content, but the actual production. So if you happen to go looking and you find a video that is just, say, someone sitting in front of the camera and talking to you, if you look somewhere else, you might find the camera pointed at the roll of coins that they're going for instead of someone's face, or you might land on something produced as a documentary that you might see on TV. So there's a huge variety in terms of that. So if you happen onto one to see if you like it and it's a format that you don't like, try something else, because they vary all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, we've done segments over the course of this podcast on different coins, different stories, different points of interest. But one of the things that we started doing recently is a new piece that we are calling The Real Deal. And basically what we're doing is we're telling you how to figure out whether or not your coin is the real deal. We started with the 1893S Morgan dollar, and we moved on last to the 1877S or the 1877 Indian head. And our next one is going to be the 1901S quarter. So we're going to do a lot of these things just kind of as an educational thing. And we waited until we had the technology to be able to really kind of show you the pictures that we need to be able to do. So it is amazing to me how far this technology has come over the last 10 years. That we started out with, it looked like the typical Saturday Night Live skit with 3 people sitting there with, yes, and you're listening to the Coin Show. And it has time to now where we do a video show. We show you the news articles that we're reading about. We can give you demonstrations of some of the stuff that we're talking about, and it's just a really, really cool format. So TV has become very fractured. There's a million different ESPNs. Just look at YouTube and the internet as your coin universe, because you can find all kinds of different things on there. The one thing that I have as a warning, like I said, though, is take everything with a grain of salt,
Yes.
investigate, and find out whether your people know what they're doing or not.
Yes.
Matt and I are both ANA members. I believe he's a PNG member. I am a PNG's Numismatist Guild. I'm trying to think of whichever. So you just get reputable people.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's see.
And another way to kind of connect with the coin community online is through social media. I know there are very active communities on both Facebook and Instagram that you can join into. Instagram was one of the ways that I kind of got back into it. I collected when I was younger and then fell out of it in high school when I had too much homework to have a life. And when I got back into it a little bit later, starting a coin account on Instagram and connecting with people that way was one of the things that kept me involved, even when I didn't have money to actually be purchasing much at all, because you can just talk to people on there. You can see what other people are collecting. And it also is a selling platform. A lot of people sell over Instagram. It's very unofficial. It's not like, listing something on a website or in an auction site where there's an official buying process. It's much more, hey, I want to sell this for 150. Is anyone interested? And then you message them and exchange PayPal information or whatever it is. But that is something that people do. And it's a very different way to shop for coins. And the same goes for Facebook or any social media, is that they're very hard to search. If you're looking for a specific coin, it's hard to search for that in a post that's for sale. You can try, but it doesn't work very well. So it's much more kind of what you would get just roaming around a show and looking at tables, is that everything is going to come by and you'll see it. So just creating an account on those platforms, specifically on Instagram, that's dedicated to coins, and then following some other coin accounts will help get you ingrained in that community. And you learn from seeing other things that people post. You have the opportunity to buy things. And it's just a good way to kind of stay engaged with the community, especially if you can't be buying a whole lot yourself. So
I will share one old man's point of view towards that whole thing, is that, look, there's a million social media platforms out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest thing is that it's intimidating to people that they don't, well, God, I mean, it's like, it's Twitter this week, and it's Instagram next week, and Facebook was always good for a long time, and now it's going down. What it comes down to is that each one of these social media kind of have their own quirks to them. So I told you to think of YouTube as like a giant library of film. Instagram is more of a library of pictures, because most posts on Instagram contain a picture. I don't think you could post without one, can you?
No.
So you're going to have some visual in your Instagram post. So it's a great place to go and just look at pictures of stuff. There are forums like Coin Talk that you can go to where, there's people like Tom DeLory, there's people like Mike Diamond. I mean, there's a bunch of really, really, Mike Ellis, a bunch of really high-end numismatists that hang out in that place that you can get to know through socially and social media. Facebook is another one, but Facebook has kind of a different aspect to it. It's more of a community thing. So what you want to do with Facebook is you want to look for groups. Facebook has a feature called groups, and you can search for different types of groups based on subject. You just put in coins, and there you go. If you like more discussion, Reddit might be your thing. Reddit is a really good social media that a lot of people have just never heard of. It's kind of like a forum. It's more discussion-based stuff, but it brings people from a very wide background to talk about different subjects, and keeps it fairly well on topic too. So, as you hear of new social media, just try and figure out, what do they do? Twitter was the world in 161 characters, something like that. They've changed it since to now it's, but it was short, sweet, and always live. So that was what Twitter was about. Whereas Facebook was something you could connect with your friends and family and kind of hang out together and do things with them. So each one of these social media takes a different angle at the way that they do things. And if you think about it from that position, you might be able to find, different things that might appeal to the way that you collect or the type of collecting that you do.
Yeah. Yep. All of them have something that's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, whichever one you are most interested in or familiar with or comfortable with, there's probably some form of coin community on it that you can be involved with.
And the great part is that you're going to find people that have the same type of, preferences because they tend to frequent the same type of social media.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's see. What do we have left? We have done the news. We have done our discussion. We have, I guess we could take some questions from the listeners because that's pretty much all we have left. Typically, I have to apologize to people. We were planning a much more technical show, and the streaming kind of broke down on it. We were planning to do a coolest thing. For those of you that are familiar with our show, we usually finish the show with the coolest thing that walked into our shops. You'll just have to wait for episode 195 for that. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So we might as well just go to questions.
Q&A time? Okay.
Yeah.
So if audience members in the Zoom, if you just hit that Q&A button at the bottom, you can send in questions and we will get to a few of them. So we have quite a few in here already that I think are mainly comments. So we might revisit a couple news things as we have comments about them.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see, with someone's comment, remember they did post additional coins. I believe that was about the gold US 20s. And they were gone within 15 minutes, the burnished uncirculated gold piece.
I like Daryl Atchison's comment. How dare Mike disparage Canada, America's hat? He didn't say America's hat, I just did. Just kidding, of course, because I agree with him. We Canadian collectors have been making similar comments about the RCM stupid vintage figures for decades. Well, you know what though, Daryl, here's the thing, is that I like what you're doing. And I think that it gives us an alternative. It gives us a choice. Plus, you're innovators. I mean, that's been proven for years.
Mm-hmm. I think I bought more from the Canadian mint than the US mint, meaning one coin, in recent years.
One coin.
One coin, and that was even
Wow.
secondhand on eBay because they had sold out by the time I heard about them. But
that was a Canadian. Which coin was it? I was curious about that one.
I actually have it beside me. So one moment.
Okay.
There we go. I first saw it at the World's Fair Money in 2019. But they were, what's the name? The multifaceted animal head in a wolf. Let's see how well that comes through, but it's very, very, very high relief.
Yes.
And then very reflective on the wolf itself. There it goes.
So it's like a reverse proof. It's got frosted background and a very shiny wolf, and the wolf's face sticks out big time.
Yeah, like I don't know how to estimate. Maybe a centimeter.
Well, I mean, but 3 times as high as the coin, right?
Right. Yes, 3 times as high as the coin. It's in a very custom capsule that's way fatter than any other proof capsule you've seen. Or airtight.
I wonder if they'll do a pig.
They did 3 of them.
That would be cool with that kind of depth.
I know they did a bear and one other one that may have been a lynx.
Okay.
I'm not sure. They did a 3-piece series. But they had them on display at the World's Fair Money, and it was just too interesting, and I had to have one, so I found one on eBay.
Now, see, oddly, I had to buy a Canadian coin as well, but it was the dollar from the Pride of Two Nations set. The maple leaf that they put into that set had so much going on, and the fact that there were only 100,000 of them made. That was okay. I'd like that one.
Yeah.
I'd like one, please.
Let's see. What do you think of the 2021 Morgan/Peace dollars that the mint will start shipping soon?
Oh, I'll let you take this one. I'll let you tee this one up.
Well, first of all, I think it's very strange that they put them on sale so far ahead of when they were shipping them. That was a weird choice. But in terms of the program, I think overall it's a great program for the hobby. Personally, I'm not a fan of Morgan dollars. Controversial opinion. But I think so many people love them that minting new ones for this year in honor of that transition in 1921 was a fantastic idea and program that will benefit the hobby and just draw more people in. So I think it's a good program. I'm not saying that sales were executed well, but as a program for coins to have existing now, I think it was a good plan.
I think as far as execution, I'm in favor of the Mint's execution for it. Not the way they executed. I'm in favor of their execution. Anyways, so no, I like the idea of the program. I am also with you, not a fan of the Morgan dollar, never have been, but okay, it was a very important piece in our history. I think it's the most popular silver dollar we've ever produced, even though I like peace dollars better.
Agreed.
And yeah, the odd timing of the payment and shipment, and if they were going to sell them that far in advance, why did they limit it so low? And I mean, there's a bunch of things that just make you scratch your head on this one. So I'm rather confused as to, you know, what they were trying to accomplish. I think it's interesting to note this particular legislation. These coins are not commemoratives. They are coins. And so the Mint can continue to make them whenever they want going forward.
Interesting.
It's a thought that they may just pull them up in anniversary years, that they may do something special with them, but based on how predictable the Mint has been and how competently they've done things, I don't know. It's just a big question mark. The bringing out the 21 piece dollar, I think, was just a masterstroke, but it's my favorite coin. So, you know, look, there were a couple of things that the Mint has done over the course of the last 20 years, even 15 years, that I thought were brilliant. They brought out this fractional buffaloes, and the fractional buffaloes were a one-time thing and really, really good. It just so happens that the quarter-ounce coin is the same size as a nickel. And having the design of the buffalo nickel on basically front and back made this to be a solid gold buffalo nickel. The Mint, by accident, created an idea, and they said, hey, you know what? We can do this. So they came up with the idea that in 2016, they were going to do a dime, quarter, and half to, you know, celebrate the three that came out that year. And then they didn't think it through. And they made them in 24 karat gold, which didn't give them enough metal to make the coins the right size. I think that people would have handled 75% gold if it made the coins the correct size, and they would have had a runaway hit on their hands, as I believe they do with these Morgan and Peace dollars. So we'll see.
Yeah.
As of today, which is the 16th, I still have yet to hear of anybody getting their credit card charged for these. But I have seen ads online from authorized purchasers for graded versions of this coin. Who knows if they're pre-selling them or not? They're not really saying. And the prices on them, I think it was a 70 for $400 for an O or a C. But I mean, that's just, you know, an $85 coin.
Yeah.
In a 70, and it's not, and it's an annex holder.
Lovely.
So,
it got better.
Yeah, just when you think it just can't get any better. So you know, I think that they've done some things that have really tapped into some, you know, some real nerves, and that's the kind of stuff that tells you the coin collecting is alive and well. I think it's more a matter of what they're doing, and right now how they're doing it, because they're just confusing people and they're making them very uncomfortable with the process that's going on.
Yeah. On a different side of that, we have another related question. Speaking of the new Morgan dollar commemorative coming out, how do you think this is going to affect dealers with a flood of unfamiliar people or new collectors coming in to try to sell them, just like the Buffalo nickel, the Bison reverse Jefferson nickels from 2005?
Well, this one is clearly going to be different. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of 2005 Buffalo nickels. Yes, I know. But this coin has a fairly low mintage, and this coin is very desirable. So that said, people taking these into dealers to get rid of them are going to have no problem selling them.
Mhm.
I don't think that the people that have acquired these are going to be ignorant of what they're worth. So I don't think you're going to get that until people start inheriting them. And I think that the market for these things is weird in the fact that it spikes, and sometimes it drops and sometimes it doesn't. And you kind of have to be a somebody who looks into a crystal ball to be able to figure out which ones are which. I think the Privy Mark 75th anniversary Eagles are going to be a dud. I think that they're just, people bought them, they flipped them. I saw a couple of the proof silver Eagles the other day selling for $500 a piece, which is just outrageously high for a coin with just a Privy Mark on it. I don't think these Morgan dollars are going to do that. I especially don't think that the O and the CC Privy Mark ones are going to. You might see some action with the D and the S, but the P I think will be strong, and the Peace dollar is going to be, super strong. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The only thing that occurs to me is that there could be a case of, people who have inherited a collection from somewhere else where they have a lot of like very common date Morgans from the original mintage. If they hear about these and how much they're selling for, they could fall into the thinking, oh, mine are old, they must be worth more, even if they're common dates and heavily circulated. And so I could see the possible reaction of more groups of old circulated Morgans coming in with people saying, oh, they should all be worth $200 when they're not.
Well, that is truly the cross that coin dealers bear, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's up to you to educate your customers, to put up with the people that are, that are ignorant of what's going on, and don't blame them for it. I mean, look, they're trying to learn. You might have an opportunity there to create a new collector or a customer out of it.
Right.
But for the most part, a lot of people are just going to look to dump them. And, then that's going to, but I just don't think there's enough of these that'll be a real issue. At least not for a while.
Yeah. Let's see. Also on the same topic, we have a question. Why is it that people are ignoring the mintage? All 5 Morgans are the same mintages, but they're selling the CC and O Privy Marks at higher prices than the P, D, and S. Are people tied to the low numbers of the original CC and O minted Morgans?
So why is it that people are ignoring the mintage? All 5 are the same. So
Right.
basically what you're saying is, why are the CC and O better?
Right. They're more expensive and no one's asking why.
Well, I think it's fairly easy to explain. The CC and the O were the ones that were sold originally during the train wrecks. So they got distributed the least correctly, and likely, because they had mintage limits of 10 per household for those. So they got distributed in chunks, and they are going to redistribute themselves. I think that just, particularly at the very beginning, lends itself to a spike in prices. If they have to change hands, you're going to see the prices go up. Whereas the other ones were household limit 1, so they're more evenly distributed. Many of the people that bought them are going to keep them, which is going to eventually drive the prices up, but there will be fewer of them in the marketplace to do that, so it will take more time. I think at the end, they're all going to be relatively better coins, but that O and that CC, because of the circumstances around which they were sold, may always have just a little bit more of a stigma to them. I don't know what you want to call it, a premium or whatever. They knew that the Peace dollar was going to be premium, and they made an extra 25,000 of them. So, we'll see what happens. I honestly see the prices on the 21 Peace dollar, the 21 Peace dollar being the same as the Morgans, even though there's more of them. So I think this could be a high demand item. I think it's going to be a high demand item for a while.
Yeah.
And, as far as getting those, man, it's You know, and here's the opposite side of that coin. In 2018, I think it was either 18 or 17, they came out with the 225th anniversary set of the U.S. Mint, and they came out with these reverse or enhanced uncirculated coins. And I was like, oh, cool, enhanced uncirculated. I'm all over that stuff, right? And people ordered them, and they sold out at the Mint. And people looked at these coins, and they were like, ugh. And all of a sudden, the inbox at the U.S. Mint got flooded with these things, and everybody returned them. And now you can't give these sets away. They were like $50 a piece. I think they retail at 25 now.
Oh wow,
they're brutal.
I would also toss out regarding the pricing for the CC and O privy marks. It could be, like the person suggested, tied to that original kind of the love that a lot of people have for the original O and CC Mint Morgans, since they are more popular. And it could also be that they had to do them as privy marks. As my memory serves, I think there was originally concern about whether or not they would be able to have O or CC Mint ones, because there is no longer an O or CC Mint. And so the privy marks were a workaround for that. And so the fact that it's not an actual mint and it had to go through the privy mark could appeal to some people, and that there's a little bit more of a story there, perhaps.
Well, I mean, the question is were the D and S struck at Denver and San Francisco? I think they were. And I think for that exact reason, that the Philadelphias and the Peace Towers are struck in Philadelphia, and that these O and CCs were also struck, or they were probably struck either at West Point or someplace else where they had to use a privy instead of a mint mark. And yeah, the romance of those two mints that are closed are definitely the draw for those two coins. I mean, you just can't get them anymore.
So there is a question: do you support the Mint's idea of allowing APs to buy these low mintage coins before the collector?
Me personally, no. I think it's a really bad idea. I think it's a really bad look. I think what you can do is that you can sell them first and then offer them at a discount to authorized purchasers.
Yeah.
I think that that's one way of getting it done, because what happens is, you know, as people want the coins, the fact that you've lopped off 10 or 20% of the mintage right off the top, and you're making them unavailable to people that really want them, you know. So, you know, for those of you that argue, well, some of those people are flippers, well, the people that are the authorized purchasers are nothing but flippers. That's what they do. They're just flippers that do a lot of business with the mint.
Yeah. And someone who seems to know the series very well in the Q&A has confirmed that PD and S were struck at the According Mint, and the CC and O were struck at Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Philadelphia.
For the record, the person typed it correctly. I just forgot
No,
how
they
to say
didn't.
words.
No, they didn't. They said Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. I was the one who meshed cities and states together.
Sure. So we had a comment on the wolf. Somebody liked that. Household limit on the PDS were 3, not 1. Okay. So I sit corrected on that one as well. They had to do 1 on the Peace Dollar though. And that was, I was unable to get the plane. Let's see. Do we have anything else?
Let's see. Comments on. Is there a different cost for mint products in which the mint reserves a percentage of the mintage for dealers? I don't have the answer to that one.
I don't have an answer to that. And I think the answer that I'm going to give is the one that people want to hear. They better not. Because let's face it, if you're selling them at any kind of a discount to them, oh man, it will just make people angry. As if they're not already, you know, it will make them more angry.
Yeah.
So, Lianna, I want to thank you for coming and spending some time with us, sharing this show with me in the absence of Matt. the opposite side of the box got way better looking this episode, but you'll have to go back to the normal after this. We'd like to thank all of the people that help us to create this show and to make it possible. Our executive producers, Barry Swan, Justin Irvin, and Ernesto Aguilar, who does all of our Facebook stuff, and to Corey Scherer, who is just a general man about town and does all the dirty work. We would like to thank all of you who watched, who subscribe, and who listened to this train wreck of a show today. And we'd like to let you know that if you like our show, it's available all the time on www.coinshowradio.com. You can also go to facebook.com/The Coin Show. But we're getting away from that. But coinshow.com, and you can download every single episode that we've ever done, hopefully soon, including this one. But thank you for listening. I heard Lianna kind of say something like this earlier. I don't know if she got it from me or not. But thank you for listening and watching. Without you, this entire endeavor would be completely pointless.
Very true for the symposium as a whole, as well as this session.
Absolutely.
And for everyone listening, thank you. Hope to see you all back at some of the presentations tomorrow. For people who are listening to this recording after the fact, look up the NNP Symposium. We are nnpsymposium.org, and all of the presentations each year are recorded. It is a series of educational presentations delivered over Zoom and then recorded and uploaded to the NNP afterwards. It's entirely free for everyone who participates and attends, thanks to EPNUS, the Eric P. Newman Numismatic Education Society. So we are very grateful for them and for all of you for participating, because without you, this endeavor would be pointless.
That's right. So for The Coin Show, I'm Mike.
And I'm Lianna.
There you go. And we'll talk to you next time on The Coin Show.
You've been listening to The Coin Show podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nottelmann. 10 years and going. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on Facebook at facebook.com/coinshowradio. There, you'll find our live streams. Plus, the podcast is on all the usual places like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. For our private group on Facebook, look up Friends of the Coin Show Podcast. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Coin Show. And sign up to be one of our patrons at patreon.com/The Coin Show. If you come in at the $5 a month level, you'll get 2 extra bonus episodes a month. As always, thank you so much for your support. This is The Coin Show Podcast, signing off.